Hey, so I'm Colleen Taylor with TechCrunch. We are here at Box headquarters, and this is the CEO, the man of the hour, Mr. Levie.
Just 1 hour, this hour.
Exactly, and then the rest of the day belongs to everyone else.
That's when I sleep for the rest of the day.
Cool, so tell us about what you guys just launched last week, about the mobile stuff. You're bringing the cloud to mobile devices for enterprises. Tell me what this means.
Yeah, so well, we have been very, very focused on mobility for really actually since the formation of the company. It was funny, in 2005 when we started Box, mobility was like you had like a Kyocera flip phone, and we were actually experimenting with how could we SMS you files to your cell phone at that time. So we've been paying attention to mobility for a while, and the greatest gift we ever got was the iPad, because it completely changed what mobile meant for your business information. And so for the past 2 years, we have been very focused on making it so businesses can get to all of their content, all of their business information from any kind of tablet, any kind of smartphone. And what we launched last week is Box One Cloud, which is all about how do you have all of the applications that create data in your business be able to store information on one single platform. And so that's what we're focused on right now.
Cool.
Is connecting all of these apps together through a single system and interface.
Can you give me any numbers about how many of your clients actually access, Box through a mobile device right now, and where you expect that to go?
Yeah, so well, the average active user accesses Box through actually multiple devices. So we're absolutely living in this world where people are working from all different kinds of platforms. You probably see this in your own personal life of how many kind of computer kind of devices do you have?
Personally,
yeah.
Probably 4.
Okay, so then this is what we're seeing from all of our customers. When we moved from 5, 10, 15 years ago, if you looked into an enterprise and you saw what people, if you asked somebody where do they access business information, it was primarily their work PC. And so that meant there was, it was a Windows-dominated world, and everybody had about one computer in which they needed to access information from. Fast forward again, till today, and you basically have, between 3 and 5 devices that you're actively trying to be able to work from. Whether it's your mobile device, it's your laptop at home, and it's your, computer at work. You want to be able to get to your information from anywhere, and this is what we're powering for over 100,000 businesses and 82% of the Fortune 500.
Cool. And so I want to switch a little bit because I know this month Google is said to be finally unleashing G Drive.
Not familiar with what you're talking about.
Never
no
heard
idea.
of it.
Never heard of that.
So Google is kind of maybe getting into your space here. What's your strategy?
Well, it's a great question. Google has in the past 3 or 4 or 5 years really seen that they have to be in any space that is kind of $1 billion plus. So if you think about what they've had to do in wallets, if you think about what they're doing in social, what they do in television, what they do in online checkout, what they do in mobile, this is a very important ecosystem for Google as well. And so we've seen the rumors about G Drive for the past 6 years of running Box. We've been paying attention to Google and G Drive, and so I think finally it's about to come, and we think it's going to be actually a meaningful player in the market. I wouldn't discredit what it's going to be able to do. We're very, very focused on kind of the deep enterprise use cases of how do you manage information at scale, how do you get to information from any kind of device, whether it's a Google-powered device or a Microsoft-powered device or an Apple-powered device. And so we think that that enterprises are going to value platform-agnostic players that are very, very, very focused on security and the enterprise depth that we offer. And we have exactly one motivation and one goal inside of businesses, and that is to power the best sharing and collaboration and information management experience that there could be. And for Google, there's a lot of different things that they're doing. And so we think that our level of focus is going to be the huge competitive advantage that we have against any player in the space, whether it's Google or Microsoft or Apple or IBM or anyone.
I see. And so, and you mentioned these other big players. I mean, you're pretty big for a startup. I mean, 400 employees now, but you're going up against these really large companies.
Yeah, Google certainly has more funding than us. So
yeah.
They're a bigger startup as size of companies go. But I think what that comes with its own set of risks, which is a huge range of priorities that the company has to focus on, and they're going to be competing with one company that is focused entirely on this proposition, but also at the same time, just to be to kind of provide the most amount of context. Google's a great partner, right? We work with Android, we work with Chrome, we work with the Google Docs team. So we're going to continue to work with them. We think it's going to drive more innovation and more competition in the space, and we think that will just help produce this sort of world of you can access information from anywhere, you can work with anyone, you can share more easily. We think all of these applications go and serve that kind of greater purpose, and we just want to be the best way that businesses can do that.
Cool. And let's talk about you guys as a company. I mean, you've grown so much just in the past 7 or 8 months from an employee perspective, and you guys took on a boatload of funding this past fall. How is your?
It was a medium-sized boat. You could fit it on most yachts that you've seen.
Right.
So
could you buy a yacht with that much money? Probably.
You could buy a few yachts, but we've decided just to invest in engineering instead.
That's good. How has your customer growth been? How much money are you guys making these days? What's your revenue?
All great questions. The good news is we're private,
right.
so that's one of the benefits. So I'm not going to be able to share some of that stuff, but we're growing our enterprise sales, for instance, over 3x per year, off of a meaningful base. So it's getting to be some pretty significant scale. We are very fortunate that if you look at how IT has been changing just in the past even 2 to 3 years. And this is why we love the iPad, this is why we love mobility. Just in the past kind of 2 to 3 years, what the iPad has done to the enterprise, it has completely forced every enterprise in the world to rethink their IT strategy. So 5 or 10 years ago, we would not have been able to effectively sell to the world's largest businesses. They would just be calling up Microsoft and IBM and Oracle to solve these problems. But today, they get mobile devices in their organization. They want to be able to invest more in strategic areas of their infrastructure and of their services. And so fundamentally, they need software like Zendesk, like Workday, like Yammer, like Box, like Salesforce, like NetSuite, all of these kinds of tools to help them be more competitive in their business. And so we're benefiting from that kind of change and transition that's going on. And so that's why we've been able to grow. And I think that's why so many people in the cloud and so many people in the mobile world today are seeing huge success in the enterprise.
Great. And you guys have had a lot of success, and obviously the space has gotten more attractive for small startups who are also now getting into the space. Are you guys acquisitive at all? Do you ever look at these companies and think about acquiring them? Or as an acqui-hire to build out your team? I mean, there's been a lot more small startup and app interest in the space.
Yeah, I want to do aqua-hire actually is what I'm focused on. So the more water we can get into our organization would be ideal. But is that a good joke or just weird?
That was a little weird.
Okay,
but
cool.
You can make coffee with aqua, so that's...
Yeah. All right. Maybe you can edit that one out. But it's so hard. How do you pronounce aqua-hire? Is there like?
It is a little.
There's a little finesse that you have to.
Some people say acquire.
Right.
Some people say
and then nobody knows what you're saying. So basically, we are investing in our platform right now, which we think is going to spawn some amazing new companies on top of the Box platform. So the entire point of Box One Cloud is that if you are a mobile developer building for the enterprise, it's really hard to get distribution today. It's really hard to get engaged with the kinds of companies and scale of companies that we work with. So whether it's a Procter & Gamble or a McAfee or any range of business that is 5, 10, 20,000 employees and on up. And the whole point of Box One Cloud is we're going to provide distribution for mobile apps that are focused on the enterprise. So our first stage is how do we extend what we do through this partnership ecosystem of applications that are really powerful. And we did that last week with over 35 applications on the platform. And as things make sense to be kind of core components of what we're doing, not specific kind of applications that we would get into, because that would be competitive then with the application ecosystem, but things that we could leverage as services for all developers. That's going to tend to be how we think about doing acquisitions and investments on that side. But right now we're very focused on the platform. We think there's going to be dramatic innovation that can happen outside of Box. Bill Joy from Sun was really famous for saying that there's far more innovation and smarts outside of your organization than just within it. So we want to leverage all of the amazing companies and products that are being built, and just provide a framework for business applications to be built and distributed and delivered on Box, so we can go take those to market.
So give me an idea of what is a business application that you would like to see built on this cloud? Is there anything that you hear a lot from people that they want to see, or that you already think is a great utilization of the ecosystem?
Yeah. So as you break down into different industries and different verticals, whether it's finance, whether it's healthcare, if it's pharma, if it's education, there are lots of unique applications that are going to be necessary to make businesses successful. So one early example that we're seeing in construction is this company called PlanGrid, right? They make it really easy to do blueprints and all this construction data in mobile environments. And so we're starting to see that in different industries and different verticals, you're going to want these specialized applications. And so these are not the areas that Box is going to go and build. We're not going to build these things ourselves, but we think that there's going to be amazing innovation happening in the developer ecosystem to make that possible. So as you think about digital signing and e-signatures, there's companies like Halifax and DocuSign and EchoSign, and these are amazing applications that can get built on top of the Box platform to make our customers more successful. So, in electronic medical records, for instance, in the healthcare space, there's going to be amazing innovation that helps us digitize a lot of the healthcare practices that exist. And so, HealthTap is doing some amazing stuff there. How do we get these kinds of applications to be built on top of Box, particularly in a mobile environment where it's all about sort of next generation ways of building these apps. There's no file system, so they fundamentally need to leverage the cloud to build these applications. And we can provide the right kind of data security, the right kind of identity management, and the right kind of business models to make them successful in the enterprise.
Cool. So last question,
Yes.
There are a lot of initial public offerings that have been happening. Is Box next for the IPO? Have you started to hire some bankers, look at going a little bit bigger?
We have not hired any bankers yet. It's certainly fun to watch. A lot of our friends go public and see them be amazingly successful. Jive is a great example of doing incredibly well in the public markets. Yelp as well is doing an amazing job. I think it's really exciting, particularly in the enterprise software world, where you have significant upside on the scale of what these companies can do. And we think that investors are incredibly attracted to those businesses. If you think about NetSuite, right? They are one of the few remaining large SaaS public companies, because a lot of the other ones were acquired recently by Oracle and SAP. And so we think there's an amazing market for enterprise software companies in the public markets, and we're just going to keep on building privately for now, but we're certainly always watching that space.
Cool. Well, exciting times.
Cool.
Thank
Colleen,
you so much.
thank you so much. Really appreciate the time.
Yeah.
So thanks.